Welcome back to Brokers of Secrets. Now, in this episode, we're going to continue talking about what we hinted at and mentioned in the last episode. It's called the clarity audit. Now, it's so good that we replaced our entire website with it. Now, what's a clarity audit? The clarity audit is where we actually dive into your subconscious and look at what drives you. And I'd like to think of it as the deepest drivers that causes you to make one move versus another, causes you to think one way versus another. I want you to go spend the next 4 minutes, 5 minutes at most, go and take this audit and then come back and listen to the episode. And the goal is to give you so much clarity that you know exactly what you need to do. We look at the behaviors that you loop, meaning repeatedly do, whether consciously or unconsciously. That loop is being driven by something deeper. And previously, when we did the loop quiz, we show you the pattern. But showing you the pattern isn't going to solve it all the way. There is something deeper yet to be disclosed, uncovered, and actually addressed. And that is what this does. Inside of the clarity audit, there are 3 things. Stability, which is what keeps you grounded, which is what keeps you your structure, which is what gives you that feeling of, oh, I'm safe. You're not on survival mode. You've passed the survival mode. That is the stability engine. When we first started doing the clarity audit, you'll find that we were very general. It was just one clarity audit. There's no different areas of your life that we test. So it is now available for you to test your career and work and money and wealth, which are 2 different things. They seem to be the same area, but they're different. You could be the highest performer, making the greatest moves in the company, contributing, making a lot of money for the company, or even yourself. Problem is maybe you don't keep the money. Maybe you spend all of the money. Maybe you don't know how to manage it. Now, the money and wealth one is actually built primarily for the ultra high net worth individuals that come through. Many of you are millionaires. Many of you are making 6 figures. Many of you are wanting to do that. You still want to test your money and wealth because no matter what you are doing right now, you can still learn to accumulate wealth and or learn about what may be blocking you from doing that. And I'll give you a quick story. When I was younger, like 5 years old, I got home from school one day and I noticed my parents bought a brand new TV. I asked my mother, hey, Mom, are we well off? Are we pretty wealthy? Can I invite my friends over? We got a big new TV. And she said, no, don't you tell people that we have money or that we're rich because someone will take it. And I was like, okay. Right? Now, as a 5-year-old, what do you say to your mom? You accept it and you're like, okay, that's what it is. So as I grew up and became an adult in my 20s, I would find myself making money and sometimes really good money, and then it'd be gone. The reason it'd be gone is because I was worried people would take it, so I would spend it. I spent it so fast, sometimes before I hit the account. So that pattern was to protect myself from what my mother warned me about at 5 years old. When you test your wealth and money, that area of your life, and you go through the clarity audit, you're going to uncover and discover some hidden patterns, hidden things inside of your engine. Maybe it was protecting you when you were 5. But now that you're in your adulthood, this actually sabotages you. So you need to find those, right? Now, the beautiful thing about this, it allows you to see separately how well you do at work and how well you can do at work, and separating that from wealth and money. Yeah. Now, let's go to the work and career part. Some people, they can have great savings, but they can't seem to keep a job, or they can't seem to perform well at a job, or they can't seem to get promoted. There's a difference. So I also want you to take a test, take the audit and test that out and find out what's the difference between the 2 areas. And sometimes these areas can create conflicts. Some people don't believe that they can do well at work if they invest a lot of time in their relationships. And I'm sure you've known many people out there that are just like that. Maybe you're like that, right? You're like, no, I can't actually work as much because you have to sacrifice. And what are you sacrificing? You're sacrificing, maybe it's your relationship. Maybe it's even your health and fitness. One of my very best friends, John Matson, he's done so well helping people who literally spent and sacrifice their health and fitness to build their career and make more money. And now they've gotten to a point where they have done so well while their body's suffering. So he's created a massive company serving that audience, right? So a lot of times people are going to have this behavior where they sacrifice. It's kind of extreme, but they may not feel that way, right? They might be like, that's just how it goes. You have to sacrifice, you have to grind. There's a way to have it all. Yeah. Now that does require a different way of thinking. And in order to get to that different way of thinking, which will benefit you forever, you need to understand what's going on behind the scene, the drivers, right? And these drivers, or these engines that we call, are going to show you why you're lacking in one area and why you may be actually working really hard in one area but not getting what you want. If your stability engine is really low, you may not care to build a structure, a system. You might just wing it because you might be really good at what you do. Maybe your power engine, which is the second engine, is really good. That means you're really influential, maybe even charismatic. Maybe you're just very, very persuasive. Maybe you're really just great at what you do. You're very professional. You've got great skills. And when you and your clients rely on your skills, your time is going to diminish. Without the system, your time is the sacrifice, right? Your energy, your sleep, your eating, your fitness, all of those things are going to go down the drain because you've improved your skills, your power. You're on overdrive in the power engine, but you're on underdrive with the stability, meaning no system to support you. Now, same thing in the relationship aspect. You may be extremely charming, or maybe you're like a really incredible lover. Maybe you're just a really incredible husband, wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, but you have no consistency. You're not continuing to work on that relationship. You only work on it when there's a problem, and you'll use your charm, you'll use your skills, your persuasion. At school, what happens? Projects oftentimes don't get worked on until the deadline or close to the deadline. Many people in university do that. Many people in high school do that. That's a common human behavior. They don't have a system of executing excellence, and so they rely on last-minute, high-effort, high octane activities to make up for what they didn't do. If you want to be extremely influential and powerful while being very unstable and unsafe, well, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Now, let's get into the last engine. This is where things get even more interesting. Previously, we talked about the power engine or the influence engine. That engine has to do with what you have in terms of your current circle of influence or your current boundary of influence. The last one is called expansion or growth engine. The expansion and growth engine is really important because this one, for me, for a long time was the one that would score the highest. I was always so curious about what would happen if I break that boundary, and grow, right, in terms of business. And what happens is when I would push through these boundaries and grow to new levels, I would forget about the system that I wanted to build or needed to build. And so if you're low on stability and safety, but you're way overdriving on expansion and growth, you're going to find an unstable foundation. And so it's like feast and famine. Many of you know this in the entrepreneurial startup world. A lot of founders experience feast and famine. A lot of money, all of a sudden, everything's amazing, and then it's all gone. Payroll took half of it, and then the rest went to something else. And you're like, I knew that was coming, right? And then repeat. You'll see that these psychological so-called loops or behavioral loops, they're actually coming from these engines that we're talking about, and the engines having conflict with each other. And so when people say 9 out of 10 businesses fail, well, I think it's 9 out of 10 humans fail, because the business is just an expression of the human, an extension of their mind. It's not really the business. And now, of course, if this business carrying an extension of the human, and the human took the time to build a system to create that stability and safety, then you have power, meaning inside of that system, the humans increase its influence, its persuasion, its ability to increase its effectiveness. You're going to notice that the entire system becomes better off. And so that also lowers the chance of the business failing. When the power and the stability are now on point, you go and expand. This is the natural way of not creating a shaky foundation, therefore putting oneself at risk. Most entrepreneurs are not as risk averse as other people, perhaps. I mean, think about it. How could they really sustain being an entrepreneur if they don't have a certain level of risk tolerance, right? But you also hear stories, yes, these entrepreneurs, they may succeed, they'll get to a certain point, and then whoever invested will, or their board will say, hey, we need to hire a CEO now, because the founder might be really good at starting something, expanding it, but not necessarily building a stable foundation, a system to carry it. And when you want massive growth, you do need that. Because most smart people can work really hard and make $1 million a year. How long can you carry that $1 million+ life if you don't have a system? And the answer is not long enough for you to enjoy it. You're going to start feeling like you're sacrificing your romance, your family relationships, your health and fitness. So the system needs to exist. We can sit here all day and say it's important, but if you take the clarity audit, you would have seen, oh, wow, my stability engine is way low on Underdrive. My power engine is in the middle, really balanced. And my expansion engine is really high. Well, that means you're probably taking a lot of risk without a steady foundation to support you. This test, at first I built it so I could actually understand myself better. Because blind spots, I wanted to uncover them. This is the most refined version. It gives you the understanding into the 3 engines. These 3 engines are a really seriously simple yet effective, profoundly effective way of looking into your psyche. I want you to look at it, and based on your track record, what have you done? Look at your bank account. What have you done? You can say, oh yeah, I'm very stable, but if you look at your bank account, there's ups and downs, you're not telling the truth. It's important to know. So you can address, right? If you're underdriving on stability, turn it up. Build a foundation, build a structure, a system that benefits you. Now let's talk about the final point, which is the overdrive. If you're overdriving on stability, what you're doing is you're really safe. You're overly safe, perhaps. And you're overbuilding system, and you don't want to launch something until it's perfect. You're like, oh, I got a job right now. It's very stable, and I want to start this business, but I'm not going to. Overdriving on stability, it's not a problem. It's when it conflicts with the other stuff and your goals. If it does, then that's a problem. Now, as you look at overdriving and underdriving, you need to notice how they may conflict with the other engines. And if they do, well, this test will tell you. This clarity audit will tell you the answer. So if you haven't taken it, go and take it. If you have already taken it, go test another area of your life and come back, because the next episode, we're going to dive into some very interesting things that, well, you'll see.